So the first thing that I typically do is go to that file that you send me. And one of the things I'll mention right out of the gate, if you were putting this together and then dropping it somewhere where it's going to be loaded, I change this field and copy and paste it down, and that's just the metric month that we're tracking. So I think when I first sent you the template, it had 201707 because it was July. So I update it to August, copy and basically paste it down, and then I save it. So that's already done, but just kind of assume that I went through that process. So then I will go to my Jitterbit application, the data loader. And once this is set up, this will be...
I lost your screen.
Oh, you did. Oh, yeah. Let me know if you can see it again. Okay. So what I did was I came here and just opened up Jitterbit. Once you've gone through like setting everything up, it's honestly it's this easy. So I log in. In this particular case, we're going to upsert, and the difference between some of these things is basically an upsert's going to just, we're not doing like an additive type upload or update. The data you send me daily is just, that's the latest for the month, so basically I want to overwrite what's in there with the new fresh data that you send me. This just provides a test to log in just to make sure it's running. It's connected, so I hit OK. I click Next. The object that we're going to upload data into it's sales territory KPI metrics. It's essentially an object tied to the sales territory. But for me, when I'm logging in, I just quickly hit KPI, so it reduces the list, and I'll hit sales territory KPI metrics. For number 2 here, I hit select field, and the external ID _C field is the one that we're going to tie this to, and that's essentially that string or that geography ID that we use. That's a unique identifier. Hit next. I'm going to go select that file. So this is the one that you sent me today, and I ran this already, but there's no harm in running it again. It's basically going to override the data with the same data is all it's going to do.
Okay.
Hit next. You should get something that looks like this. It's basically putting it in that CVS kind of comma delimited format. Hit continue. We want the top one by default, so you don't have to change anything there. Hit next. Here is where when you and I go through this exercise, we will actually create a schedule for this. So you actually will never have to go through this process that we're doing now other than the one time we go through it. But it's good for whoever's on the call to kind of see it in case anyone needs to do this manually one time. And so then I'm going to click, but here we're not going to schedule it, so I'm going to hit map and finish. I'll expand this, hit auto map, and it's going to map the fields that it finds that makes sense here, and then there's going to be a couple things we have to do manually. So I expanded this, and I'm going to drag this to sales territory. I'm going to click external ID, and this is going to be that unique identifier we create that's going to tie into that record. So if you ever wanted to reference it within Salesforce, it's going to create like kind of that unique ID. And so this will be sales territory plus one tick underscore one tick plus, and then metric month. And then hit OK. And then we're going to scroll to the bottom. Click this one is uploaded. Expand conversion. Click Boolean. Set that to true. Hit OK. And finish. And then essentially what we're going to do is I'm just going to run this. I should get a, hopefully if it works. Haven't had any issues to date, so I'll run this. It'll take maybe 20 seconds or so, and then we'll get a notification saying, like, I think it's been 371 rows upserted successfully.
Awesome. So after we set the schedule, I never have to do any of that, right?
Nope. So after you set the schedule, the only thing you'll do is when you extract your data, so successful, we're good, and then I hit close, and then I close out of the application. So what we just went through would be kind of a one-time thing that we would set up on your machine, and then what we would do then is have, when we would select that file, you might want to just create like a special, folder just for this specifically, and you would drop that file in there, and just as long as it's got that consistent file name, then it's going to pick it up at the scheduled time that it runs.
Cool.
And that's basically what I do. The one other thing that the other time I do this, and it's a very similar exercise, and it uses the other Excel template that Chris, maybe you haven't gotten that yet, Jamie, but it uses that same a similar type Excel template. Is if there's ever a new territory created or you need to create new metric months. So I put the months all the way out through August of next year, but at some point you'll need to create, or someone will need to create, I should say, future months against those sales territory, that KPI object. So for instance, when September of next year hits, you would need a row for 201809 and for each of those territories, and that's going to be like that unique month for that territory. There's just a similar process to upload those with the targets in there. Those are obviously consistent by some of the targets we get dynamically, but some of the targets like the 80 sales calls, 16 activations, whatever it might be, we basically load those targets in through the same type of process. And the instructions are very, very detailed. Diana actually put it together, and it was impressive because I did it and didn't have to ask her a question. It was just it was very, very step by step. In fact, like what we walked through was essentially this. And that's kind of it.
Awesome. Sounds easy enough. Yeah, let's put some time on our calendars, maybe like Monday or Tuesday next week. Then I can just start taking over the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, this sounds super simple.
Great.
And then for everyone else, I know we're pulling the sales rep volume by their route ID for sales reps. And since BAMs don't align with that, that's why we can't get the BAM volume in there. But if we could upload it the same way, since that's updated every single Wednesday. So if I can upload volume the same way that we're doing this, in the meantime, that would be awesome.
I'm going to leave that up to the PMs in the room here. Well, cool. Yeah, I will certainly have somebody who's a Jitterbit expert work with you on getting that set up on your machine. The one thing I'll remind you is just when you're putting that spreadsheet together. Let me find it here. Is just one, make sure as the new month, as we get to that new month, that this gets updated with the new month value. It's obviously YYY, MM, and then when you save the file each time, and probably by habit now you're putting the date on it. I would save it just as that template name each time because it's going to look for a consistent file name when you schedule it. So those are just kind of the two maybe gotchas I would call out.
All right, awesome.
And I recorded this as well.